Tristan, I think we just saw the EF van. Was it the EF van?
I'm not sure.
Let's go see a little bit more that way.
Right, in the opposite direction.
Alright guys, just a little quick note here before starting this video. This one will be a long one because there was just so many good knowledge for me to share in this video. So if you're on a tight schedule, here are all the chapters so you can jump into whatever piques your interest. But if you do have time, I highly recommend that you sit back, enjoy all the good knowledge, all the good time we have throughout the day. So without further ado, let's jump straight to the video. Alright guys, we just infiltrated EF cycling coaching training camp. We're just north of Girona and we're lucky because we have access to premium coaching today, secret tips from ex-professionals, and just this whole experience of EF training camp here with other guests. But so far, let's go look at my bike is getting cleaned by their mechanic. Let's go just take a quick look. So we have Moto here who's pressure washing my wind space. It was probably a little bit too dirty. You can tell he's a professional.
We didn't ask for it. That's just how it is over here. Things get done.
I start to like this pro cycling life now. I just got here and my bike is getting washed. That is awesome. Alright, so today the ride plan is quite a big day. So it will be 120k with 2,300 meters of elevation. I mean, I'm super hyped about this because there's a lot of experience here. There's COLBY PEARCE, who's one of the guys leading the training camp. We have Zack. So I do believe that I will learn a lot about cycling today. And I want to also improve some of my climbing abilities, maybe some pacing technique, PACELINEs with the other guys. So we'll see. It's going to be a super interesting day. Now, Tristan, I think we need to find an EF kit because we can't show up with our kit. Should we go ask Zack?
Let's find
All right,
Zack.
let's find Zack. Where's Zack? Zack, what is Team EF Coaching and what are we doing here in Girona?
So Team EF Coaching is a cycling coaching company where we build personalized programs for people of all ability levels to improve in the sport of cycling. People are building towards, getting a result at an event or doing a personal best somewhere. We help them reach those points with our coaching services. This camp is a place for some of our clients and some of our non-clients to come and learn from our expert coaches and become better cyclists. Meeting up in person is a pretty unique opportunity because we can write training programs online and give people's intervals and give them feedback, but really here in person we can work on the more technical components of cycling, such as cornering, body position transitions, how to execute climbs in real time. So that's what this camp here is all about. So we have our head coach. So COLBY is the coach, let's say, of the coaches inside of our company. COLBY has obviously a lot of years racing professional experience, but above and beyond that, COLBY has a lot of years studying and basically coaching regular everyday people on how to become better riders. And I think that a lot of people out there have this misconception that they're not good enough to have a coach or that they're not worthy of a coach. And of course, if you're a professional athlete, well, you definitely need a coach. But a coach is kind of like a ski instructor, right? You would never, go and take on a double black diamond ski slope without having some coaching or something like that ahead of time. And so that's what cycling coaching kind of represents for a lot of the people here. And so COLBY is kind of the mastermind behind a lot of our programs, and he does a lot of the programming of building a lot of tools for the coaches to use in their everyday coaching services. Aside from that, I mean, we have some people from the team here. So we got like a mechanic, Moto, we've got SOIGNEUR, John, we've got a few other people here just kind of helping out and making it a fun and engaging but really effective environment for everybody to come, get stuck into some training and hopefully get better from it.
Well, thank you, Zack, and I'll see you on the bike real soon. Let's go for a rip.
You want to go for a ride?
Yeah.
All right,
that's
man.
what we're doing here.
Let's kit up. Let's go.
Let's get up. Moto is the bike mechanic here. What is your favorite tool for cleaning bikes?
This one,
This one, huh? Tristan, you got the hat?
I got the hat.
You're the assistant producer.
Yeah.
That's all you need, bro.
That's all I need.
All right, guys, I'm here with COLBY PEARCE. COLBY, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing at EF Coaching?
My name is COLBY PEARCE. I am the director at Team EF Coaching. Director of Coaching Operations. That means I herd the cats, which is an affectionate way to say I learn all the lessons, and then I teach them to people. Been learning a lot of hard lessons throughout my own racing adventures. So.
And just a little rundown, what was your own racing adventures throughout the years?
I was a professional for about 15 years, started racing in 1988, kind of got struck by lightning when I did my first criterium, decided I was a bike racer forever from that point. And then I went on to race on the track, mountain, road, and cross. Had the best success on the track internationally, raced a lot of World Cups, World Championships, and made the Olympics in Athens in 2004.
Wow. What can you tell us more about the camp we're doing today, and how do you help people who are attending the camp to become better cyclists?
So the camp today is about enjoying this amazing playground we have outside of Girona. We're in near Besalú in Spain, and it's about just teaching riders how to ride their bikes, whatever their goal is, competitive or non-competitive. Team EF Coaching is here to distill our expertise that we've learned through the staff we have. We've got a lot of World Tour level riders who have joined the coaching staff, trickle down that knowledge to our client base and just teach them how to do whatever they want to do, whether it's upgrade to the next category racer or win their next race or just participate in their next Fondo or just get faster or lose some weight, enjoy riding the bike better. So we talk about getting faster on the bike, improving the size of your engine, but also improving technique, cadence, cornering, in and out of the saddle, accelerations, all those little bits and pieces that form the foundation of good cycling that has depth and good intensity also.
How should we start the day?
So we're going to collect the riders over into our yoga room.
Yep.
And we're going to do a little bit of movement, loosen up the hips, loosen up the spine. This is our third day at camp. You know, people are a little sore. They've been doing a lot of climbing and a lot of hard work at this point. So we're going to make sure they're loose and they're ready before they get on the bike.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's get up and let's go to the yoga room. Thanks, Colby.
Thank you.
Whoa, Alina, looking great.
Oh, thanks. That is my new EF coaching kit.
With your boots.
Oh, yeah.
What are those?
Straight from the wave.
Nice. All right, the EF kit's looking great. Aero and super tight. Whoo.
Fall, axial extension through the spine, lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Low enough to get a stretch in the glute. And just feel if you get low enough to get a stretch. And as you exhale, don't let the hands or the ribs collapse. Just reach one more time. You're standing under the saddle and you push down with this leg. You pull with the same arm, the ipsilateral arm. So if this isn't connected and the scapula is not grounded and anchored, then when you go to push with this powerful hip and leg, then that shoulder just dumps. So this is why we want to make sure our shoulders are nice and loose. First, I want you to just rock the hips back and gently rock and feel a stretch. Might be in your hips, might be in your toes. Let's go ride.
Let's go!
All right, that was great. Felt good.
What is the #1 rate limiting factor for cyclists?
For every cyclist?
For most cyclists.
Well, I mean, what Colby just says is you need to know yourself.
You need to know yourself.
You need to know yourself.
Why? Because most of the things you do that slow you down don't happen on the bike, they happen off the bike. Like 15 cups of coffee a day or a Pop-Tart only diet.
Yeah.
Just ask your cameraman.
Pop-Tart sponsor me.
All right, so this first stretching session do start the day very well. It's always very nice to get the muscles started. Zach, are we going on the bike now?
We're going on the bike, man. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, guys, I am now here with John. John is a soigneur. And John, can you tell me more about your role with EF Cycling Camp?
Yep, with all these guys, we make a load of bottles for them every day. Lots of food, we make some little sandwiches for them, and at the end of the ride we put some massage on the table and do some other stuff, so yeah.
Thank you, John, and I'll see you later.
Catch you later, mate. Have a good one.
So Zach, here we're at the nutrition table. What can you tell us about it and any tips and advice for everyone out there?
Yeah, so I think nutrition is probably one of the most overlooked areas in cycling. Everybody talks about the importance of it, and you tell somebody, hey, you need to work on nutrition. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm working on it. But they still don't eat enough. So at the camp, we have pretty much like a pro-level nutrition protocol that we've been offering to all of the people riding in the camp. So what you'll see on the water bottles are these little labels, and that 90 represents 90 grams of carbs in this bottle. You can see this one here has 30. you got a good amount of carbs here in your bars, and then we're using other carb sources like gels and energy bars, right? So we're really lucky that we have a good nutrition sponsor with the team called Never Second. And what's so good about their carbs is it's really easy on the stomach, really easy to digest, tastes really good. But also because of how they label their products, it's just so easy to keep track of what you're consuming. So depending on the athlete's, you know, muscular makeup, some athletes are getting like 160, 170 grams of carbs per hour.
That's a lot per hour.
A lot, right? But a lot of people are on the lower end of that.
Yeah.
One basic strategy would be to, you know, front end that first hour big time, get your carbs in there as you're out riding, and then try to stay on top of it while you're out there throughout the day. So as soon as you go down, there's almost never any coming back from that. Carbs and nutrition are something you need to be proactive about while you're out there training. If you fall behind, it's pretty hard to catch back up. So that's why we got this protocol where for the first hour, everybody's gonna be having a bottle of 90, a gel, and a bar, right? Second hour, we're gonna go bottle of 30, a gel, and a bar, or 2 gels if you want. And so we continue a protocol like this, similar. Everybody's got something that works a little bit better for them, more gels, less gels, more bars, more drink mix, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, you just wanna make sure you get those carbs. Then, you know, like for example, today, we've got, everybody's gonna try to do a PR on this climb called ROCACORBA, right? And so that's about 2.5 hours into the ride. So if you're not fueling, it's gonna be pretty tough to do a PR up that really hard climb. But one nice strategy is to use a caffeinated gel before you're gonna do a big, massive effort. Typically, you know, in the professional side of the sport, riders will use this at the end of a stage.
All right, to start. Zach, so excited for this. Thank you again.
We're excited to have you here, Charles.
So what's the first challenge coming up on us?
Okay, so we're gonna do a little section of Elmont, and then we're gonna dip down, and the whole ride is geared up around doing a fast time on a climb called ROCACORBA. Corba.
I've went up ROCACORBA in the rain earlier this week, and I'm looking for crushing my time again.
Let's go.
Uphill, no hander. Whoa, in a curve. In a curve.
Hard. You take the inside line here. Okay. You can kind of ding your legs a little bit. Full summit here. There you go.
It is steep, huh? All right, so this is something I need to work on, is definitely the nutrition. And one of the first lessons of the day here, you need to drink more than you think and eat more than you think. So I just finished a 90-gram carbs of bottle.
The 90, I think it's just gasoline. Straight up gasoline.
And now I'm finishing a bar, and then I have a gel to finish in the next 15 minutes as well. So this sounds like a lot, but future me will thank me for drinking it and eating all of that now.
The child climbing ROCACORBA is gonna thank you from consuming all of your carbs.
Yeah. Alright, we just played the first attack games. Man, first time of the year, we got some speed and draft, and oh boy, we light things up. That was fun. Some guys are fast here.
Hi.
Alright, so we have Moto working on Alina's bike. So if there's an issue, someone's very talented can fix it. The sun feels so good after like 2 weeks in rain. So blessed to be here, surrounded with great people, having such a great experience. Alina, how is your day so far?
I can definitely feel the 2,000 meters of elevation that we were chasing up yesterday. Exhausting for my legs, but I love being out here riding in the sunshine in great company.
Thank you. Yeah, bro! All right, we're at the bottom of ROCACORBA. It's going to be my second time. Time to fuel up.
All right, guys, so we're here at the base of Girona's most famous climb, ROCACORBA, and we're lucky enough to have somebody who's ridden this climb a bunch of times with us, Nathan Haas. Nathan, what would your strategy be on this climb if you wanted to do a fast time?
Look, I would say it's Girona's most famous climb, but I would say it's Girona's worst climb. It's horrible.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's like a big sufferfest, but it's kind of iconic, so people will always come to do it. But it actually doesn't start hard at all, so you think to yourself you can hammer time. And it goes for a few Ks, not too hard. Hits a little wall and you think that's the real climb, and then it goes downhill for a K. The key is to make sure you just do that like smooth and not kill yourself on that first steep bit. You're kind of doing your best to get up it, and if you're going well, you just go fast. And if you're not going well, you just get up it. So cool. There's actually no flow to this climb, and just hope you have a tailwind at the right point, but I think today we don't.
All right, let the game begin. All the gains, huh? All the gains at the early. Oh, hey, I am suffering, but I have a time to beat from last time. And we were just casually talking, and I just into the zone, step by step. I'm gonna get there. Let's keep going. Like I said, huh? If the mindset's there, you'll finish no matter what.
Actually, I turn off all notifications pretty much always, but that's just me.
I'll be on a ride, I'll get something from work,
and you're like, oh, it ruins your ride. So my perspective is, if you're gonna go for a ride, go for a ride. Like, I had this conversation with Nathan about 5 years ago. We were talking about sleep and sleep hygiene. And he was like, yeah, I'm not sleeping that well. And I was like, well, what's up? You know, and we started talking about his night. And he's like, well, and sometimes, you know, my phone goes off and then it wakes me up and I look at it. And I'm like, Nathan, why do you have your phone on when you're sleeping? And he was like, he couldn't really answer at first. And then after a while he told me, he's like, well, and if she calls me, I want to be there for her in case it's an emergency. I was like, Nathan, if it's an emergency, she should be calling 911. You're here in Girona. She's in Australia. What are you going to do? And he was like, I never thought of it that way. So he started putting his phone on airplane mode or turning it off. That was like a chain of thing for him, right? It's like, you have to control notifications and stop letting people put your time on their terms. That's what notifications are. And they can be convenient for us and they can be productive. But if you have them on all the time, like, you take your sport seriously, you have goals, you're an athlete, if your job affords you an hour and a half to go ride, take that hour and a half and make it riding. and then deal with the shit when it gets back. And if it's on a day where you think there's going to be an impending emergency, then either choose to leave your notifications on and understand your rides might be interrupted, or don't ride and just ride the next day. Yeah, Richard, good job. Boom.
Nice.
Boom goes the dynamite. ROCACORBA.
I've been there and it was rainy and cloudy, and now I can actually see the view. Alright, so that's the way down, the ramp to go down?
Right down that thing.
Cool.
You got to get a good head start though.
What stopped me recently on this trip is the back of my calves. They're just stiff. I don't feel a cramp come in, but it's just stiff, and I don't want to push it too further.
Yeah, on both sides?
Mostly the left. What any?
Only when you're riding, or all the time, or?
No, when going hard on 40-minute effort like this.
And it's some on the left and right, but more on the left.
I've done a lot of short track speed skating, so only turning left. So it's my left leg is very unbalanced. But yeah, mostly like right in the middle, right there.
So
if you have any
myofascial release, are you working with this fascial chain in here to loosen and open that up, like foam rolling, or you can use some myofascial release tools, massage?
What's that?
Myofascial release, myo just means muscle, fascia means the fascia is the tissue that surrounds the muscle, it penetrates the muscle, contains the muscle, but it travels all through the body, around the organs, everywhere. It's tip to toe, bones to balls, ass to tea kettle, everywhere, top of the head to the foot, and it contains the muscles. Muscles, when they're relaxed, are just like jello.
Yeah.
The fascia is like a bag around the muscle, but the fascia can become restrictive at times. When it's too tight, then it will hold the muscle in place, and the muscle won't glide through the fascial sheath. It should glide when the muscle's loose. This is what massage does, is it helps to release the muscle so it can glide smoothly inside the fascial sheath. And so sometimes you can get some binding there. If it gets really bad, you get what's called compartment syndrome. That's when the blood is trapped in the muscle during exertion because the fascia is so tight. So if you're really having swelling and like pain, that's something you definitely want.
It's not pain.
It's just tightness.
It's just tightness, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a good chance you're just really tight there, and you need some myofascial release. So that can be in the form of, you can use a foam roller or a harder roller with texture. That will shear the fascia away from the muscle. You kind of have to have the right technique to do that. You can see a good massage therapist. Those are good ways to do it. Norman Tech makes recovery boots. Those can be helpful.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yep. Those are good ways.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
That's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
All right, the downhill part, the most easiest part, because we take it so slow. Grandpa speed. All right, Zach, so we just finished the descent, so what's next now?
Gather our thoughts, come back to ourselves, get the feeling back in our fingers, and then hit a little cafe for a coffee stop. You can't have a ride out here without a coffee stop.
Is it the same in Colombia? How's the culture a bit over there?
Yeah, we always stop. We have a really laid back approach to it all. Colombia is pretty unique in the sense that everybody's got their intervals to do, and we all go out and do our work. But when we're not doing our works, then there's no ego attached to it. Everybody's just having fun in the group, just cracking jokes all day, and then of course we're stopping for coffees and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, it's pretty laid back over there.
We'd love to visit one day. That'd be great.
Come, we're gonna talk about that. There's a big hill over there here you guys want to do.
That is a small. Going home.
Yeah. Climbing home.
Climbing home.
Climbing home.
We still have a good 20k at least, 30 maybe.
Yeah, plus 500, 600 meters of elevation.
Yeah, we finished with a big climb actually.
And my feet are falling off, and I can't walk after my ride because my shoes are 2 sizes too small.
Yeah.
We have to learn to cleave those types of discomfort from what's constructive and what's just your equipment doesn't work for you. 2 different things. Or man, I slammed that stem. Yeah, every time I go up a climb more than 2K long, my back's on fire, but man, this bike looks so cool at the coffee shop.
When there's a camera rolling, Zach always makes sure he looks mean.
It looks cool. Man, this guy looks cool.
I was tired.
Damn, man.
With the Pogacar hair too.
All right, so Tristan, what's up?
Well, I'm the only dumbass running 65 millimeters deep wheels in Girona.
Yeah.
So, and I left my saddlebag at home.
I'm not gonna need a saddlebag on the ride, right?
So they don't have any tube for my wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
They got a spare wheel.
And I'm back. I don't know what Moto did. He just started fidgeting with other wheels and found something that worked.
Ah, Moto, what a guy.
What a guy.
Gotta love him.
And the wheel as well. So I smashed
Pretty
it.
impressive. I'm not a mechanic, but I think that thing's dead.
Yeah, I think it's go straight to the trash.
Go to the recycle bin, thank you.
Carbon?
Aluminum.
Oh, it's aluminum.
I think that's aluminum. Maybe it's carbon.
Yeah, I think it's...
So PACELINE is simply when a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders works together collectively to go faster than they could as individuals.
Like
Right?
a Belgian circle.
Like a Belgian circle? Been in the sport 35 years, I've never heard that term. Raced in Belgium and Germany a lot. I've never heard this term. So the objective, it's this fine balance. You have to feel how you can work together to make the group go faster and be cohesive as a unit without destroying it. If you are juicing too much when you come through, pulling too hard, or keeping on the gas too long, then it spreads out the group too much and everybody's snapping their legs too much and then they can't work cohesively. So the rule is smooth is fast, right? The other part is when you're an advancing rider and you're coming over to overtake the retreating rider, there's sort of this perfect balance of pressure on the throttle and then drifting over to take the place so that they get a good draft. You want to help them by letting them draft off of you. But a lot of times people are so concerned about coming over and crossing wheels that they slow down too much, they forget to pedal, and then they're like this, and then this guy has to back out or coast or brake, worst case, right? Or they are worried about chopping the rider in front of them, behind them, and so they're over gassing again, and then it comes 2 lengths, and then this person has to accelerate, and then all the people behind them have to accelerate. So it's very much like this. So the point being is you want to use your acceleration at the right moment, and that's in 2 places. When you're advancing around the retreating rider, the lead retreating rider, and then at the back, when you're retreating, you are looking over your shoulder, right? So if the PACELINE is counterclockwise, then you're looking over your right, and when the last rider comes past you, you're gonna go whoop, over and go to match that speed. So there's an advancing line and a retreating line. So a simple PACELINE would be like this. An echelon is when that whole thing goes diagonally. And you can see that in all the classics. We're gonna see them next week when we start watching Het Volk and all that stuff, right? The wind comes, or like UAE, or what's the other one in the desert?
UAE Tour and the World Championship that Cavendish won.
Yeah, exactly. Like the peloton is just shattered and they're all in those diagonal lines. That's just a PACELINE with a side wind. And the riders are staggered to take advantage of the draft, right? So the closer the entire group is, the better everyone's draft is and the faster you can go. If you're the strongest rider in the group, your job is to not juice everybody too much when you're on the front. And when you're the least strong rider in the group, your job is to be as smooth as possible and squeak through just at the right moment and then focus on recovery. Now, when the wind is solid in our faces, you can start to change how fast the PACELINE moves based on a couple things. One is how strong you are. If you're a stronger rider, you can take a longer pull, right? So you can advance around the rider, and then we can have a single PACELINE, right? Where you take a long pull for a while, and then eventually you would flick off, and the second rider would then come around you and take a shorter pull. We want to do a double PACELINE for now, with an advancing and retreating line constantly. But the rhythm of how fast that line moves, how fast the retreat and advance happens, depends a little bit on the speed of the group and the terrain. Meaning, when you go up a steep little roller, suddenly everybody's work is equalized because the draft goes down. So if you keep advancing on the advancing line as fast as you were on the flat road, then everybody has to like really hit it And it doesn't make sense because no one's resting. The whole point of a pace line is you do a burst of work at the beginning, and then you rest on the retreat. And even when you're advancing, because you're on the wheel. So point being is the rotation goes like this, and then you get to a hill and it kind of stalls. And everybody can, even when it's a steep roller, you just freeze. And you can just ride next to the person, just like you're climbing next to them. And then as soon as the hill crests, then you resume the rotation. But then if you go down a little downhill, the rotation goes faster because the aerodynamic advantage of being in the retreating line or either line goes up a lot. So it's really, even the riders who are not as strong can come around the leading rider really quickly because you're slingshotting around them the whole time. So the amount of rotation, the speed of the rotation of advanced retreat changes based on the terrain. You have to feel it. And then we talk to each other. So we'll be talking constantly, like, okay, good, that's good pace. Or like, whoa, 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 easy a little bit, came through a little too fast. Or a little more when you come through. We can all say this to each other and help each other work a little faster. And the idea is to go pretty fast as a group, and everyone should be working hard and bursting, but then able to recover, hopefully, in the retreating line. So that'll mean that, like, Nick and I will be working during the pace line. Some other riders might be working harder than us. We'll maintain that for a few minutes, and then if things kind of explode at the end, then cool, whatever.
I have a question.
Answer. 42.
At what point, how many riders do you need to so it become more efficient to go for that double line rather than a single line?
That's a good question. Maybe it depends a little bit on the riders and the conditions, but I would say like 6 is kind of a minimum for like a pre-repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you got 4 riders, you kind of are in a mode where you're like taking a little bit longer pull and becomes a single pace line.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
so
kind of around the threshold, I would say.
6?
Yeah, like you're establishing a breakaway, you're in a breakaway, and you're really trying to make ground on the peloton.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Or no, like you're gunning it to the final climb.
Okay.
And then the end of the race is at the top of the climb.
Okay.
So, you know, you all work together to get to the base of the climb, and then if you want to nuke it up the last schnack, nuke it and try to set a good time.
All right.
So that's kind of the idea. If you get dropped, probably better to get in the van because we're going to be going fast. Unless you're like...
Or if the group comes apart, look around, maybe it becomes 2 pace lines, and yeah, you work with other riders. Yeah, that's fair, right? And keep it rolling.
Yeah, work with other people.
Yep.
Cool.
One question I have is clockwise versus counterclockwise.
Depends on the direction of the wind. Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if the wind's coming, which way
Always
is
pull
which?
into the wind.
Yeah.
Always pull into the wind.
So if the wind is slightly from the left, then you're going to be retreating, advancing.
You want to be sheltered when you're going backwards?
Yeah, you want to be sheltered when you're going
So
backwards.
clockwise.
Yeah, because then you're fighting the wind into as you're accelerating, right?
Got
You're
it.
always protecting the people that are working.
That are accelerating or that are advancing, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and sometimes that can become a point of discussion when you're in like a wind where it's like slightly changing by 3 or 4 degrees, or the road is doing this, so the pace line changes direction quite a bit sometimes. Yeah.
So we're going to see all of that right here on this road.
Yeah.
Right? The idea is like, we're not going to get into this pace line and we're not going to ride 100%, right? The idea is that everybody can go in the pace line and get some reps.
Get some
right?
practice.
Yeah,
So we're going to go fast, but I mean, I'm not going to get to the front and do 600 watts.
Yeah.
And usually the leading rider would come and be like, change, and they move the appropriate direction to allow that change. That's kind of how it would happen a lot of
By the way,
times.
if I yell faster turns, that doesn't mean increase your speed.
It means
get off
stay on the front.
faster.
It means stay on the front less time. So on that
we're
point,
not immediately rotating out. You guys are going to
We're
call
gonna
out.
we're actually going to feel it out. I don't
Yeah.
know what this wind calls for.
yeah,
I got to get riding in it. Like, I can't predict.
You guys will let us know.
we'll let you know. We'll talk to you the whole time.
We'll tell you.
Perfect.
Yeah, but be advised, like a fast turn might be like you're in the wind for 3 or 4 seconds,
Yeah.
right? A longer pull, you could be in the wind for 8, 12 seconds, right?
That's pretty close. It's pretty short, whatever.
Very short
And
pulls.
then the
Yeah,
other thing too is
it's a
if we
very
hit an
dynamic
incline,
exercise.
If we hit a steep incline, that doesn't break up the whole pace line. You don't go blasting by the people
Right.
that are on the front.
You pause
Relax.
and you hold, and the rotation
your spot.
stops, and just go up the climb and keep in touch with your teammates, right? And then as it levels out, then we start rotating again.
In the center.
Yeah, you just kind of pause where you are. If one rider moves or whatever, it's not a big deal.
And the idea is you look for the changes on the road. So you read the terrain and you say, okay, like, I need to change here because this is a great place where if I come in with fresh energy right now, the group will get a bunch of momentum and a bunch of speed,
Yep.
right? You can come off of momentum to get more speed for the whole group.
Fight!
Oh my god, what an effort, huh? I'm done.
Who's fucking 100 kilograms
Nice job, bro.
at the World Tour. And then you have Iguita, who's what, 52 kilos or some shit?
Small.
And no other sport at the world level is like that. None. Like swimming has a very specific phenotype. NFL, very specific phenotype. Even in basketball, there's variety. There's like 5'9", and then there's like, you know, all the 6' plus guys. But there's no one who's 5'2". But in cycling, you literally have dudes who are 5'2" at the world level and dudes who are 6'4" and weigh twice as much. So, and they can be successful in different ways. But it's just a unique sport in that respect because there's so many permutations of how it all plays out, right?
But that's like if you look at the composition of a team, right? Like teams build their roster around these different roles. And so like what's interesting is like the 100-kilogram guy can win races and the 50-kilogram guy can win races.
If the team works for him in the right type of race.
And so, like to your point, that doesn't exist in any other sport, right?
Not that I know of.
The point guard doesn't get to play center.
You also need the tractor too, right?
You absolutely need the tractor, the rouleur. Yeah.
What's his name?
The welder.
Tim DeClerc.
DeClerc.
What a legend.
He is awesome.
Guys, we made it back to the villa. What a day. 5 hours and a half of riding. We've clocked in 120k. How many elevation do we have? Like close to 2000, I think.
I think 2,300.
2,300. That's a big day. So we've been climbing all day, and definitely the highlight of this day is the pacing line at the end. That was so fun. It like got back into racing mode a little bit more with the boys. Really pushed myself up there, and as soon as the steeper elevation kicked in, that's where Zack put a hammer down. Probably the best day of this trip. What do you think, Tristan? Is it the best day of our 2 weeks here?
I definitely think it was the perfect way to end our trip. That pace line was crazy. I got dropped after 20 minutes.
I want to say I was surprised how long you stayed in the pace line because it was climbing. It was climbing, so that means you played it very well. You hid yourself from the wind. You were sheltered. You did not put too much gas when it was not the right time to. So, Tristan, congrats on that, man.
300 watts for 20 minutes at the end of a 5 hours.
At the end, so my boy. But the day, guys, is not finished. And actually, with this whole EF training camp, they really want to take care of their guests really well. There is dinner waiting for us, so all we need to do now is just go shower, and then we enjoy some very nice chef Michelin star quality food. So looking forward to it, and yeah, let's get changed, Tristan, because I'm getting cold. I've heard you have recovery bottle drink.
You can have some recovery drink here, sure.
It was a pretty tough day out there.
Yes, it was.
Do you want chocolate or vanilla?
I'll take chocolate.
I'll check vanilla.
One of each?
Yes.
I want to know how you make your recovery drink because I always make mine, so I'm always looking forward for a new recipe.
Okay.
This is just protein.
Protein and carbohydrate, yeah.
There's carbs also, okay.
Yeah. There's some protein bars as well if you really fancy loading up on the
2 scoops.
3 scoops.
3 scoops. So I've been doing my recovery wrong all this time. That's all the pros does it?
Yeah.
You're getting tips from the best.
The best swinger out there.
good. Thanks, good. Last year, I ran out of protein, and for some reason, I did not buy more protein. I was like, I forgot to buy it. And after a month, I was like, I'm not recovering. Like, I had a hard time on the bike. I was always getting dropped. And then one day I clicked and it was like, because I don't have my protein anymore after the rides. And then now I never missed it.
It does help for recovery for sure. Particularly when you're doing big rides back to back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you
You're
so much,
welcome.
John.
Thank you, John.
Let's get change.
Let's hit the showers.
Yes.
So different types of riders are better at following wheels. Some aren't as good at following wheels. Some are better at changing pace. Some are not as good at changing pace. And during a pace line, you've got to have multiple accelerations, right? You've got to punch through to get around the wheel when you're on the ascending side or the advancing side, and you have to accelerate when you go to the back. When you're retreating, you have to accelerate to jump back on the advancing line. So it's much more stochastic in terms of power. At one point, Nick, I think you said you were like, this is a 400 watt pace line.
Yeah, it was.
Right? But notice that if you're watching your power meter the whole time, if you just went up that climb on your own, you might average, if you were maximum, you might average 340 watts or whatever, and you might be in a pretty narrow range, plus or minus that, 330, 340, 345, etc. But at a pace line, you're going to hit 450 at the front, perhaps, and then as soon as two riders are in front of you, your effort goes down dramatically, especially for a high speed. So now you're in the 270 range, you're floating. And notice if you follow the wheel closer and you lower, and the whole group's tighter, maybe you're dropping into the low 200s.
I did lower for a second, and Zach was like, nah.
Right. Your best aero position, given your setup right now, is to be on the hoods with bent elbows, what we would call a sphinx position, right? And your focus is two things, shoulder height and chin height. But most people tend to bend the elbows a lot, keep the head up, and then when you look at their profile, the back is maybe pretty horizontal, and then their head is like, boom, on top of their torso, right? What you want to do is drop the head down, but still look up the road. So chin height towards the stem. No. That's one of the biggest ways to impact aero position or aero drag when you're going fast, right? You're going to solve the equation. Whenever you get uncomfortable, you're going to rely on your strength, which is your strength figuratively or metaphorically, meaning your actual physical strength. So you're going to be comfortable pushing a little more wind if you feel like you don't want to be close to a rider because you have the legs to back it up and not get dropped, right? But there are other situations where that won't happen, and over time, if you don't address that, it'll handicap you because then when you get in a group with riders that are much better bike handlers than you and similar strength, you're going to have a deficit in your handling.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Right?
That strategy just doesn't work in competitive scenario when you're stuck in a group with
You have to be on top of the levels.
Because we can create, based on our muscular strength, really big lactate spikes, right, without even noticing it. And so when you go to the front and you do a little surge like that, you don't only hurt everybody else, but you also hurt yourself. So something you should really practice is just it'll be amplified the harder you go. Right, because in this group you were in total control, you were super comfortable, right? But if you were on the limit, then that tendency would be even amplified because you'd have less control of yourself. So something I would recommend that you really work on is power control, like ceiling control.
Tristan, Moto is the hardest working guy here.
He is, and I just hope he's gonna get some food soon because we're about to get second dinner.
So we're heading to our second dinner, and this is the thing about pro cycling is, the thing is we got very late for lunch, so we just decided to line up lunch and dinner 2 hours apart. So pretty stoked on that. So Tristan, you wanna hold on?
We're going in for
Funny.
I thought it was gonna pull and not push.
We've got the starters. Is it good, Alina?
It's hella good, but honestly, I just really need food. I'm so fucked.
I don't know, I had a hard time today, but I'm more than impressed. You have no idea. In a movie, I heard this quote: "If the mindset's there, you'll finish, no matter what." Keep that in mind. It's in my movie. I've said that and you can find it on Charles We Met YouTube channel. I just gotta get some lamb back. Guys, what a day this was. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone at EF Coaching. If you guys need some coaching, there will be a link in the description down below. Definitely check them out. They have the best coaches in the world. So much experience on the lineup of their coaches. So definitely check it out. Now, a little recap about this day. I mean, this was a blast. Probably one of the best days in cycling for me in the last couple of years. Definitely the best day of this trip in Girona. We had the good weather, we had the good hills, we had the good crew, we had race pace, we had team strategy, and just all the knowledge that COLBY shared with us today was mind-blowing. I just wish I could have showed more into the camera, but I don't have it with me all the time, and this video needs to be under 20 minutes. So there's a limited amount of knowledge that I can share. So again, definitely check out EF Coaching. We're in this beautiful villa. Shout out to Richard, the owner of it. We just met. Super cool dude. Something else also I want to mention is how unbelievably important it is to have a coach riding next to you, someone who knows how to ride his bike. They were able to spot a few of my mistakes right away on the bike. Say, hey Charles, careful with this, careful with that. Try to do this next time. And also just seeing the pro mechanic at work. Shout out to Moto. Moto has been making our bikes so fast and smooth. And I did learn from watching him working on the bikes. We saw the SOIGNEUR, who also teaches us recovery bottles. I just realized I was not putting enough protein in those. So it's just all of these little things that you can only learn through the experience and through coming to a training camp like this. So in the future, if I can go to other pro cycling training camp, that'll be very great. Maybe other team will reach out. Maybe again, EF Pro Cycling. That'll be great. Be riding with the pros one day. But yeah, this is a dream, and let's make dreams come true on this YouTube channel. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you aren't already. And I will see you guys on the road or into the next video. Peace.